Hello, it's Richard Bowles here from Property Investor News, and I'm here with Sean Hughes on comprehensive tax planning. Good afternoon, Sean.
Hi, Richard.
Sean, I listened to your seminar this morning here at the Landlord Investment Show in Elstree, and you talked about the challenges that many landlords, portfolio landlords in particular, are having due to the implications arising from the Section 24 tax regime that was brought in and fully impacted from 2021. Mm-hmm. So summarise what your thoughts are and what landlords need to be considering.
Yeah, well, for landlords who are still holding property in personal name, they need to look at whether that is still the right option for them. You know, since Section 24 got announced in 2015, people have been, moving properties into general partnership, LLP, limited company. And although people may have looked at that, back in maybe 2018, 2019, with the changes over the last 12 to 18 months, mainly in terms of interest rate rises, there may be benefits now of moving into a different structure, be it LLP, limited company, general partnership, that weren't there a few years ago. And with interest rates rising, the effect of Section 24 is going up and up and up. So that's why people need to look at it. We're helping people, like I say, in the simpler cases, go into a general partnership with a spouse or maybe a family member to use up multiple basic rate bands rather than going into the higher rate of where one person is owning the property. And going into limited company is right for some people, not right for everybody. There are challenges on getting the properties into the limited company. For some people, those challenges can be overcome if you meet certain criteria. And then it can be beneficial to have them in a limited company if it results in an overall tax saving year on year.
That's great. So obviously, one of the things that you discussed in the talk was the different schemes, and there are a few specific schemes that are around and are highly promoted, and there are complexities around any of these more. Without naming names, you did say that you have concerns about one or two avenues which are, may well be leading people down the wrong path.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've been saying it for years. And the issues I've got are with people who are not qualified in taxation. I would say this as a chartered tax advisor, but I think it's imperative that people take advice from somebody who is a professional. And it's not just about the professional having passed some exams 10 years ago. It's about the way that the people have to conduct themselves. Now, the schemes that, the viewers and your readers see being advertised are not being advertised by chartered tax advisors. There might be the odd chartered accountant in the background, but they're not the prominent people speaking about it. And you've got to be very wary in those situations, because I spent 15 years being a tax advisor and I understand the legislation, and I've niched down into property because taxation is very broad and very, you can get
Indeed.
Lost in it. That's why, you have specialists, and I've specialised in property. So hopefully the stuff I talk about around structuring and stamp duty, this is all I deal with, 7 days a week or 5 days a week. And this is what we understand the legislation, and we only deal with people in an honest and with integrity, because there's one thing lying in your own pockets with some of these schemes that are clearly aggressive tax avoidance, especially one around a director's loan account, which is, in my opinion, very clearly tax avoidance, and the fee is calculated in relation to the loan amount that's created, which is, in my opinion, disgraceful. And I've never seen a chartered tax advisor act in that way, because to charge a premium fee like that on some aggressive tax planning would be against our code of conduct for tax professionals. So I'd say to people, be very careful about who you deal with. If you don't understand it, don't do it, because at the end of the day, it's all taxation. 99% of it is self-assessment. And when the proverbial hits the fan, if these advisors are nowhere to be seen because they've retired or something else, you are the one who's going to have to deal with it. So you need to understand that. And when people talk about having professional indemnity insurance and almost using that like a sales tactic, that we've got this insurance companies make money by taking premiums and not paying out. Okay, that might be a very cynical way of looking at it, but that's my opinion. We have to have professional indemnity insurance as a member of the Chartered Institute of Tax, but we don't use it as a sales tactic because hopefully we never have to use it because the planning that we do meets the legislation and is good planning.
Sean, some really strong points there for people to consider. So for anyone who's still considering their options ahead, if you're a portfolio landlord, spent a lot of years building up your portfolio, and now perhaps due to what Sean's just said about the impact of the interest rate rises that we've seen in the marketplace in the last 12 months, absolutely talk to your accountant, but obviously, as Sean said, speak to a qualified tax advisor. Sean, how do people get hold of you?
Google comprehensive tax planning or Sean Hughes. But just to add on to one little point there, Richard, talk to your accountant, but also take specialist advice as well. And what I'd encourage people to do is the advice that you get from a specialist, like myself, run it past your accountant then, because hopefully the accountant and the tax advisor should speak a similar language, if that makes sense, technical language. And then if the accountant has still got concerns after that, that's when you should be, quite question what you're being told. But if the specialist, kind of assures the accountant that the planning is legitimate, that should give you an added layer of assurance as well.
Great points. Sean, thank you very much. Richard Bowers of Property Investor News with Sean Hughes. Thank you.